start with, I asked you to read the Voss article. Did y'all get a chance to read through that? Yes, this would be part of the class participation time. Some sort of thing that says, yes, I read it would be helpful. Did anybody read it? Okay, oh, there we go. They live, good. What did you think? I mentioned last week that Voss is typically considered the father of biblical theology, and if he's not, he ought to be. Okay, it's okay to say Jesus is really the father of biblical theology. Okay, but I think in a modern sense, who's done the best work? Who alerted us to it? I think Gerhardus Voss. And that was, I believe, his installation paper when he was given this very odd position, or professor of biblical theology. What is such a thing? So that was his address when he was installed. Thoughts, responses. What do you think? What did you like? What did you find cryptic? I'm not going to ask anything particular just yet.
I like the fact that he put the stress back on the author, the original author of the meaning.
Okay, good.
That his point was that the point where he said that God is the only legitimate, the study of God is the only legitimate form of theology.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
I don't know if he just justified his existence at the school and his division, but he did seem to put it as a real science, and all theology as a real science, and specifically biblical theology just as much as a real discipline, a real study, and he kind of barred the whole presentation was his justification of biblical theology. So,
yeah.
So he had to do that. That was what the thought process, wasn't it?
You're right. That's good. Yeah. Really, as you're reading through it, he doesn't just justify it. He makes it sound like, how did you guys survive without that? I don't know how you did systematic theology without this. Yeah.
But that same point also proves to be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because he's coming from, if I remember right, the background. This is science and that's religion. Science has superiority over religion, and so he's coming back saying, no, this is just another science.
Okay.
But in doing so, as we've seen now, he buys into a whole set of logic of this is how you do science.
Okay. Yeah.
And rules that he is, by using that terminology, is imported into biblical theology that we're seeing now have some downsides as well.
You're probably right. There is a context here. I'll bet if he were to deliver an address today, it wouldn't read the same way. He wouldn't make his arguments the same way. Yeah, this is a thoroughly modernist kind of audience, and yeah, that's a good point, Tim. That's an interesting observation on that. Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely he's definitely talking the talk of that era. His audience has these presuppositions, and he's speaking to them. He's using the currency of the day, which was not without its flaws. That's for sure. Okay.
One of the outgrowths of that was he literally addressed evolution. He said that scientific evolution left a seed for metaphysical agnosticism, is his words. So he essentially said, according to the thinking of the day, there is no reason for this theological study, because it should either just disappear, because we have science, or at least science is
good
over it.
Good. I'm glad you noticed that, because he's at what school? Princeton. At the time, one of the only institutions of higher learning from a Christian perspective that was actually taking on Darwin, where people were where Christians were consciously thinking and writing critical. You find that in Charles Hodge also, very much so. So as you read Calvin, there's a lot of anti-Catholic stuff. You read Hodge, it's very contextual. What are the questions of the day? He's trying to get people to think in light of all these of the current challenges. Hodge is, and evolution is one of them. And so that's right in line with what Princeton was about. I say that in the past tense. course. Yeah.
How long was he at Princeton, and did he change or accomplish?
Oh, years, decades. He didn't go to Westminster, I don't think. So, yeah. Do you think he did go to Westminster? Did he? Okay, I'll need to look at that. I don't know. I know Van Til left Princeton. I didn't know that Voss did. But I could be completely wrong on that. I'll have to look. That'd be an easy enough thing to look up. I might actually trust Wikipedia on that one. Probably something there, yeah. I appreciated some of the imagery that he used of just the organic, this flowering. There's a real progress of revelation that he's wanting us to see, and he tries to communicate. I'm not sure how well he does it, but he pretty well. Just this idea of the synergy, that it's not good enough to just say, okay, this is what the Bible teaches in just like a data dump fashion, but you have to take account for this flowering, this development across the contours of the canon. I really appreciated that, and that's what we're going to try to bring out for you here. Probably beginning in about 2 or 3 weeks. As you look at the course schedule, starting next week, we're going to look at the story of Scripture and the canons. Okay, canons, the covenants. I'm sorry, the canons. Yeah, all these different Christian canons that we have. You thought you were getting the Christian biblical theology. It's far more than that. No, the covenants. So the progress of revelation. We're going to look at just the superstructure of the story of Scripture, giving particular attention to the covenants. And then from that point on, we're going to try to model from Scripture what we're talking about with the canonical biblical theology. And so I think you're going to enjoy the time that we spend in here. It's going to be, there's going to be good teaching, just because it's good Bible stuff, right? But hopefully we're going to model for you how to do this as well. And so there's 2 simultaneous lessons there. The particularities of what we're talking about coupled with the approach to it.